World War II was a very impactful time for many nations, especially us at home in the United States. There were many soldiers that went to war during this time. During this period, there was still racism all over, so not many African Americans were allowed into the military. At first, only a couple thousand were let in, 4,000 to be exact. But as blacks began to demonstrate their loyalty and the NAACP pressured FDR, more were allowed to enter. By the end of the war, it reached up to 2.5 million troops were colored. The African Americans were highly segregated still, even though they were let in. They were put into separate units from whites. These units were called the Buffaloes. The most famous group was the 92nd Infantry. They were the true inspiration for blacks in the military. Although more African Americans were allowed in, they were still seen as lower people, so the sergeant of the infantry division would be white. The success of the 92nd Infantry showed many that more African Americans should be allowed into military units. The Buffaloes were very skilled at what they did. They didn't become one of the most decorated ground units for just getting shot at. There were many things that made the African Americans good at fighting during World War II, especially the group, the 92nd Infantry. Some of their reasons are hard to believe, though. The reason that the Buffaloes were so successful starts off with how much action they saw on the front lines. Since they were in a time of racial segregation, the military would send in the colored units to start off the enemy and not lose any white soldiers. The sad part of this was that Buffalo units would always lose so many because the intel was little to none on the enemy's whereabouts. But when they did know the enemy's position, they were able to effectively do their job. Another reason the Buffaloes were good was because they had something they were fighting for on a personal level. They believed if they could fight and die, they should be able to have rights. So by performing so well in the battle, they were trying to send a message to those back home. There should be equality. This proved successful because shortly thereafter, many blacks were allowed to serve and not in segregated units.
So this guy here is Frederick Douglass Killingsworth. He was born on September 21st, 1923, and he died on June 15, 1982 at age 58. Frederick is a specific buffalo that happened to be in the 92 Infantry Division. He participated in the North Apennines and Po Valley battles. He was very decorated with his awards, including the Good Conduct Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Service Medal, American Service Medal, and World War II Victory Medal. He was very brave and survived all his battles. He told many stories of how he would nearly die from artillery and 50 caliber machine guns.